question was, to Sheriff HONSAL, you say you don't work with ICE except every time someone's booked in a jail, even for low level, just misdemeanor arrest or something, your fingerprints get sent to Homeland Security and ICE. But what of the joint task force that caused terror in Fortuna a few months ago, and your department is sharing release dates if you don't work with ICE?
Mm-hmm. So that was a couple of years ago, where the drug task force, which is overseen by the Sheriff's Office, but it's a multi-agency drug task force, did serve a warrant in the city of Fortuna, and ICE was there, and they did come for translation purposes. Okay, that was wrong, and we're not doing that anymore. Okay, it's one of the things that Renee brought up, and it's one thing that we talked about in our meetings, and so that does not foster goodwill in the community. Once ICE shows up, then everyone is essentially terrorized in that circumstance. Okay, so it's a lesson learned at that point in time, and so we are no longer using it. And since it's a part of the policy that we will not use, ICE as translators, so that's not something that we will do. As far as release dates go, we talked about release dates. Release dates are public information, so anyone can know release dates. But when we talk about ICE, when it's specifically for those offenses that are outlined in SB54, serious or violent felons, is when we'll communicate with ICE via the release dates.
I have a question for the sheriff.
Yeah, I'm going to respond really quick.
So the sheriff just said that what happened in Fortuna was a learning lesson for the sheriff's department. I think that's a really hard lesson to learn for the families who were terrorized by what happened. I think this right here is a learning lesson. To have your community to come forward to you and plead with you to please support us. Instead of learning from tragedy of a failure, we should learn from the voices of the community. Oh, and Aniela has to leave us right now, previous engagements. But Monica has a response or a question for the sheriff.
I just want to have a question for you, Sheriff. What's the real reason why you don't support Measure K? You claim that Measure K protects criminals, but Measure K does not protect criminals. They're still going to be convicted. They're still going to go to jail or serve their time. It's not like they're going to go into jail and disappear like after. Yeah, I still have to pick them up, but in Humboldt County, what is the real reason why you don't support Measure K besides that, which is, it does not protect criminals?
Well, you see, in my opinion, that's exactly what it does. It protects criminals because those are the people that we actually communicate with ICE about. And we're talking about, again, the people that we have actually cooperated with ICE for the last 3 have been tied to drug trafficking here in Humboldt County. Drug trafficking is a huge thing. Heroin and methamphetamine is an epidemic here in Humboldt County. I think we all see the ill effects of these hardcore drugs. Everything that's being produced and transported and sold here is coming from Mexico. Okay? And listen to me. No, please just keep an open mind here, okay? Keep an open mind and listen to me when I say that. Okay, this is a verified information, okay? That drug trafficking organizations out of Mexico, and you can choose not to believe me, but this is the information that I'm confident about, okay, are coming in here into the droves right now. We have taken off more heroin and methamphetamine here in Humboldt County this year than we have the last 3 years, okay? 30 plus pounds of heroin and methamphetamine, okay, have been taken off the streets, okay? And these are in correlations with drug trafficking organizations out of Mexico. I'm sorry if that makes, people feel bad about that. Okay.
I don't think it makes people feel bad. I just think that people don't like when we generalize what immigration is to one place.
I agree. I agree with you. Okay. But when we talk about the people that we have cooperated with ICE over, it has been drug trafficking. It's been people that are associated with drug trafficking, and so those people that we turned over, and that's been a part of the serious or violent felonies that we're looking at. And so in the state of California, there's not. These people could be federally prosecuted and they go 10 years in federal prison, okay, they can be. Sometimes, they get prosecuted locally, okay, and they only get a couple years, 2-3 years. And at that point in time, and when they've been convicted and released, I want to communicate with ICE over these people, because drugs has affected Humboldt County. And if these people are a part of drug trafficking organizations, I don't want them here. And this is our ability to then turn them over and be a part of the drug trafficking organization.
But Sheriff, is drug trafficking under the auspices of ICE? I mean, I assume you would just soon work with the DEA. That's the agency that works with them. So why bring immigration into it? If these are hardened, serious criminals, if there is a serious crime situation, then they should be in jail, not sent to another country. They can't prosecute them because they don't have the jurisdiction to prosecute for anything that happens here. If these people are dangerous, then they have to be put away here for as long as they can be put away.
Well, the fact is, in the state of California, we don't prosecute, or we don't hold people in jail for this kind of offense.
For drug trafficking, I'd be very shocked.
Yeah, well, people don't go to state prison anymore over this kind of stuff.
Okay, well then you bring in the DEA and they make federal charges. If it crosses a border, that is DEA territory right there. And if they for some reason need to work with ICE, then they can do that in their thing. Although I don't understand why ICE is brought into it at all. ICE has actually blown warrants around the country because they aren't adequately trained in this.
Well, I'm saying that those are the reasons why I turned this, and there's only been 3 of them over the last 2 years. 3 people that over the last 2 years that I've turned over to.
I was an academic.
ICE.
So
What was that?
I thought it was a drug epidemic. Why are there only 3 people now?
Well, those are the people that qualify that ICE sort of decided to come pick up. So again, just because ICE, has requested a hold on people, they don't necessarily come and pick people up.
But then what happens to them? They're deported. Then what?
So I think we're conflating arguments here, is what Eric is saying. Is that we began this talk from the sheriff saying that we don't want to use a tactic of fear to pass laws or to make people do certain things. I think bringing up the rhetoric of drug trafficking is passing and playing into fear tactics to try to get people to do certain things. And I do not, as a citizen of America, don't appreciate that because it hasn't led to good policy. And that's what Eric is saying. That we don't need to be talking about drug trafficking. What we're talking about is immigration. And if the DEA wants to work with you, that's completely different. We don't need ICE to be able to communicate. We're not conflating arguments and we're not using fear tactics for the rest of our 20 minutes here. Thank you. So the next question is coming from a community member.